So today we shall continue with module 5, session 3, cloud computing and its applications. So yesterday we were discussing with Amazon Web Services, various facilities available in the computing services. So, and also the storage services we have seen, how this information can be accessed from various locations because of web-based access of data, because we are accessing data through the web, because that's why Amazon is said to be Amazon Web Services. Everything is available on the web. So in continuing with that discussion, let me give you a brief about the storage structure. Okay, in Amazon Web Services S3 simple storage service, buckets are created, and inside the bucket you have it's a container which can which can store objects in it. So this we discussed in the last hour. So each bucket will be able to store multiple objects in it. So that's a procedure which has been adopted in Amazon. So multiple buckets may be there, and each bucket can hold many objects. Each object is of 5 GB of data. One object can be considered as 5 GB of data. So there will be multiple objects which will be kept in a bucket. So many such buckets will be there. And as you know already, we have discussed this in the previous discussion, there multiple locations the data will be saved to avoid failures, because the data should be always available. It should be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There should not be any miss of data. This also I have given example. Recently, Google also faced some problem with the Google Drive. So you need to remember that you should have a proper mechanism to fail safe communication with the data as well as the client or the user. So that is why all precautionary measures would be taken by Amazon, Google, and other players of cloud. Okay, so inside a bucket you have so many objects. For each and every object you will have some metadata. Like I have already told you, whenever you are discussing with data management, you need to have some indexing mechanism so that the data can be accessed at any point of time without any problem. So you have a file allocation table in your Windows operating system. Similarly, file allocation table in your Linux, like any operating system would be having. What is the purpose of file allocation table? When you try to access a file, file allocation table will be seen. Correspondingly, the address of the location will be fetched from the table, and then it will the program counter or the data counter, it will go there and fetch the data. So that's how the mechanism. Here also, because you are storing this information in a distributed environment, you should know in which server, which node, which location the data is available. You need to have that information. So that is the important thing. That is the metadata which will be kept along with the object. That's why objects and metadata. Objects constitute the content element stored in S3. S3 is a simple storage service. Users either store files or push to the S3 text, text stream representing the object content. So that will be that is the information. So if a JPEG image is there, in the beginning of the image you have a JPEG format. What is the size of the image? How many colors are there? What is the size of each pixel? All that information will be there in the beginning of the file. Suppose you use a MP3 file or MP4 file, in the beginning of the file you will be having the information about that file. Similarly, if you open a HTML page, you will be having a metadata regarding that file. So that is the information need to be kept in the object. Okay, so the same, an object is identified by a name that needs to be unique within the bucket in which the content is saved. This is very, very important. Every object should have a unique identification so that the data can be fetched very easily. The name cannot be longer than 1024 bytes when it is encoded in UTF. So you know nowadays you are using UTF, universal code, universal text format. Okay, so that is there. Now, if when you open any HTML document, you will know whether it is in the UTF format, UTF-16 or UTF-8 format. So it allows up to 1024 bytes. You can get more information about in your web technologies course. Okay, metadata are both the systems and user defined. The first one are used by S3 to control the interaction with the object, whereas the second ones are meaningful to the user. The first is related to the file, how the file is saved, which location, what is the size, all that information will be there. It is related to system, and rest is the name of the object, all that will be related to the user. User also can see that information. Who can store up to 2 KB of metadata property represented by key value pair of string. So metadata will be of 2 KB, the object size will be of 5 GB of data, 5 GB of data. Okay. So let us see now. You remember one more important thing I wanted to mention here in the previous thing here. The data will be fetched through the get method, put method, head method, as well as delete method. I have shown you this in the previous slide. You can go through that, and again here get method is used to fetch the data from the storage location. Okay, and put method is used to store the data into the storage location. Okay, then head method is used to fetch the metadata. So get and head methods are used for fetching the data from the location, and put method is used to store the data into the location. Delete method is there. Delete method is used to delete the data from the storage location. So these are the 4 operations, remember, which I have shown you. I am just recalling it in this session also. Next, for whenever you are storing some data, you should control access to the data, control access to that bucket, control access to that object which you have saved in the S3. So Amazon S3 has got certain facilities, certain restrictions on accessing data, reading data, writing data, as well as how do they access it. There is an access control mechanism for accessing data. So that is called access control policies. We call it as ACPs. So what is a policy? Policy allows defining up to 100 access rules, each of them granting one of the available permission to a grantee. So I can recall this with a similar example. When you are doing a web technology laboratory, you are giving access to MySQL file. Now, do you recall that? You will give access to your access permission need to be written. No? Allow all access to a particular database, to the particular user identified by some password. You give that, grant all access, grant access to, or grant all to a particular database, for a particular user and identified by some particular password. Similarly, here also you are giving access to a particular database or data set which is stored in a bucket. Read access allows the grantee to retrieve an object and its metadata and to list the content of the bucket as well as getting its metadata. Write allows the grantee to add an object to a bucket as well as modify and remove it. Read ACP allows the grantee to read the ACP of a resource. Write ACP allows the grantee to modify the ACP of a resource. Full control is given, like a grant all access to a particular user on the particular database identified by password test 123, like that. So that information you can recall it. Similarly, here also we are able to give this access to a particular user on a particular data set or data stored in a bucket. Okay, ACP provides a set of powerful rules to control access to resources by S3 users, while they do not exhibit fine grain in case of non-authenticated users who cannot be differentiated and are considered as a group. When you say, when it is considered as a group of members, then exactly the problem with ACP is it will not bifurcate the user who has been given granted access, others who have not been granted access. So that is a thing you need to remember. Okay. Next is Amazon Elastic Black Store. We call it as EBS. EBS. The Amazon Elastic Black Store allows AWS user to provide easy-to instances with persistent storage in the form of volumes that can be mounted at instance startup. So it is again another way of handling data. So large volumes of data can be mounted and it can be used. You can easily understand this mounting of database, mounting of data structure, mounting of devices in your Unix or Linux operating system. When you log into Ubuntu, Fedora, any other flavor of Linux, then you go to a location, data location, window partitions can be mounted onto your Linux so that you can handle window partitions. You can copy, retrieve, delete options, files in the Windows partition just by mounting the data, which you know already that you can recall it. Okay. They accommodate up to 1 terabyte of space and are accessed through a block device interface, thus allowing users to format them according to the needs of instance they are connected to. Sometimes it is very, very careful. People should be able to use it. If full grant access is given, only to those who are genuine, those who are known to the organization should be given. Otherwise, it will be a hazardous. So anyway, we need to know that if a particular user is allowed access to a particular data, then you have all this information like raw storage, file system, and other things will be available. Okay, the content of an EBS volume survives the instance lifecycle and is persisted into S3. Remember this. EBS volumes can be cloned, used as boot partitions, and constitute durable storage since they rely on S3, and it is possible to take incremental snapshots. So if it is required, EBS volumes can be cloned. You can have a copy of that. You can, cloning means you have a copy of that, the same volume can be copied and it can be used as a boot partitions. It can be similarly, if you remember grub loader, grub loader, there will be a boot partitions. You have a Linux partition, you have Ubuntu partition, you have a Red Hat Enterprise Linux partition, you have Windows partition in your system only, and you are able to access which partition you require. You can, so EBS volumes can be used like that also. Make a boot partition so that that can be used if it is very much required. EBS volumes normally reside within the same availability zone of EC2 instances that will use them in order to maximize the I/O performance. So anyway, whenever you are trying to mount or dismount or use the volume, mainly you will be working with I/O operations. So how I/O operations? See, it is similar to the system which is available, so that the I/O operation can be faster. So you can increase the I/O performance. It is also possible to connect volumes located in different locations or different availability zones. Once mounted as volumes, their content is lazily loaded in background and according to the network operations and also the request made by the operating system. This is very, very easy to understand, which I have given you an example. When you are in the Ubuntu platform, you are working, you go to the system where all the hard disks have been given as a S1, S2, S3. It is SDA0, SDA1, SDA2, like that. So you can easily mount it. If you double click it, it will mount it. Otherwise, it will reside like that only. So it is a lazily, whenever it is required, you can mount them and you can use them. Okay. Next is Amazon Elasticache. Okay, so you have a next option which is given by Amazon is Amazon Elastic Cache. What is this? Elastic Cache is an implementation of an elastic in-memory cache based on a cluster of EC2 instance. So see, what is the purpose of a cache? Cache is a fast memory. So you will be doing any very fast transactions. ALU is connected to cache, L1 cache, L2 cache. You recall your computer architecture, you know it. Okay, so yeah, caching, when you have caching, your performance will be faster, your working will be faster, CPU will be utilized fully on that. So here Amazon is providing you cache memory implementation so that the computation will be faster. It provides a fast data access from other EC2 instances through a memcached compatible protocol so that existing applications based on such technology do not need to be modified and can transparently migrate to Elastic Cache, which I was mentioning the same. So to access your memory fast compared to normal when you do not have a cache. So it will help you in accessing data fast. Elastic Cache is based on a cluster of EC2 instances running the caching software, which is made available through web services. So everywhere you have web services is there. Please remember, you must have a browser to do it. You must have all protocols available. HTTP, HTTPS protocols should be available, to access the data. In the other side, you must have a very high-speed web server, and it should be capable of handling multiple connections, multiple sessions, and so that the data can be fetched very easily. Earlier, it was not there. We were using the browser only for search purpose. Now look at it. Everything come in a picture like this. Nowadays, everything is web-based. Maybe if you go to an ATM, you try to access money, draw money from that ATM. Do you know that software which is showing you, it is underground, it is a web service only. When you are working with your mobile phone, you are trying to connect to iCloud, you are connecting to Google Cloud, you are trying to connect to Amazon Cloud, all are web services only. Even in your mobile phone, when you are trying to see some price of a particular item in Amazon, it is a web service only. But you will not see the browser in the background. It is transferred to the end user. You remember that. Just I was giving you some examples which you already know, but you should know that is how it is being done. Okay, so there are some on-demand services available in EC2. You can refer to table 9.3 for this. There are standard instances available, high memory instances, high CPU instances. The cost of that is also given here. You can verify table 9.3 for this. Okay, next we shall move to structured storage solutions. Structured storage solutions, enterprise applications quite often rely on databases to store data in a structured form, index, and perform analytics against it. Okay, there are multiple ways of handling storage solutions. Traditionally, RDBMS have been the common data backend for a wide range of applications. You know that even though we discussed that with when you are working with a cloud environment, non-traditional way of handling data, heterogeneous data, unstructured representation of data will be there. So for that, we should have a proper mechanism to access data. But anyway, if you are providing, when you are a service provider, you should also think about legacy companies where they are still using RDBMS. They need to provide, they need to support RDBMS also. So that's why RDBMS is also given as a solution. Today, RDBMS have been the common data backend for a wide range of applications, even though recently more scalable and lightweight solutions have been proposed. Because they can't, see, there is a problem. They can't directly move from one data structure to another data structure without any change. A lot of changes need to be made. For example, till now, banking sector, education sector, we are all using the RDBMS only. How we are handling. If you look at Facebook, Twitter and all, maybe they are not using RDBMS. They are having a different type of data structure database, which we have discussed, Google file system, Amazon file system, all that. So it is there, but legacy software still uses RDBMS, so we need to provide facility for them. Amazon provides applications with structured storage services in 3 different forms: pre-configured EC2 EMI. So what is this pre-configured EC2 AMI? We know that the AMI is Amazon Machine Image, EC2 is Elastic Computing Cloud. Both are configured to provide the storage services. These are predefined templates featuring an installation of a given database management system. As you know already, a pre-configured image is available with the EC2 support that can be moved to all systems in the network. So you need to have a pre-configured setup, which we have discussed in the previous session also. Pre-configured software image will be there. It can be moved to all the systems in the network. Okay, so EC2 instances created from these AMIs are Amazon Machine Images, can be completed with an EBS volume for storage persistence. So you need to have a persistency in storage. Available AMIs include installations of IBM DB2, Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, and PostgreSQL. These are all the service provisions available for the database handling. So EBS solution should provide facility for these type of database management systems. Sybase, Vertica also available in this. Okay. Next is Amazon RDS, relational data storage, which I just now said. Now, Amazon is also providing facility for relational database management system. We call it as relational data storage. And Amazon SimpleDB, another SimpleDB. Okay. Let us move on to the next slide. Pre-configured EC2 AMIs. Pre-configured EC2 AMIs are predefined templates featuring an installation of a given database management system. EC2 instances created from these AMIs can be completed with an EBS volume for storage persistence, which I told you just now. IBM DB2 is supported, Microsoft SQL supported, MySQL supported. I think all of you might have used one of these, at least MySQL and Oracle, you might have used it. PostgreSQL, some of your project work, you may be using it. Sybase, Vertica instances are priced hourly according to the EC2 cost model. That is there. Anyway, we are understanding these facilities are provided, how much you are using, that much you need to pay. This solution poses most of the administrative burden on the EC2 users who has to configure, maintain, manage the relational database, but offers the greatest variety of products to choose from. Next, Amazon RDS is the next relational database management system, which is provided by Amazon. Developers do not have to worry about configuring the storage for high availability, designing failover strategies, and keeping the servers up to date with patches. Nowadays, students, you can try out accessing some freely available cloud service provisions, and then Firebase is there. Firebase is one which will provide you the facility free of cost. For student projects, you can access them. The GitHub is there. It will also provide you the facility, storage facility for storing your application. That is also in the cloud. Firebase is again, it is also in the cloud. Any service providers, even Amazon also will provide you some of the basic features for project working, and it is free of cost. You can access them. You can have a login from Amazon, Google, and you can use the facility available from them. It is free of cost for learning purpose. Okay. Moreover, the service providers provides users with authentic, automatic backup, snapshots, point-in-time recoveries, and facilities for implementing replications. These and the common database management services which are available through AWS, which is specific web service. Please remember, MySQL and Oracle engines are available, which we gave you an example in the beginning of my discussion with this course. We have given you the demonstration of Oracle VirtualBox. You can also try installing Oracle VirtualBox and access another operating system from Windows operating system. Next is Amazon SimpleDB. Amazon SimpleDB is a lightweight, highly scalable and flexible data storage solution for applications that do not require a fully relational model for their data. SimpleDB provides support like MySQL. MySQL is also similar to SimpleDB. You can use for smaller applications. Okay, SimpleDB. For example, MySQL has been adopted in our Drupal website, which has been configured in GSC Hassan. Internally we use MySQL database. Similarly, SimpleDB, which I gave you another example, is Firebase. You can try out any of these databases for doing your project work. SimpleDB provides support for semi-structured data, the model for which is based on the concept of domains, items, and attributes. With respect to the relational model, this model provides fewer constraints on the structure of data entries, thus obtaining improved performance in querying large quantity of data. As happens for Amazon RDS, this service frees Amazon users from performing configuration management, high availability design for their data storage. Okay. Next is Amazon CloudFront. Amazon CloudFront is an implementation of content delivery network, because one more area of understanding is content delivery network. For example, you have Netflix, okay, Amazon Web Services for media. So these are given facility where big content will be there, video, audio content will be there, that will be accessed through the web. Okay, these are the facility which are provided. So CloudFront is one which will provide you the content delivery network where large amount of data is available, and then you can access them whenever you require. You need to register for such services, Amazon services. Once you do that, you will be able to access that information from anywhere. Like you can Hotstar, Amazon Hotstar, Amazon Hotstar, or Netflix, and other YouTube also for that example. YouTube is also providing you content delivery network. So Amazon will provide you a facility where you can access data at any point of time, but it is in the distributed storage infrastructure. It leverages a collection of edge servers strategically located around the globe to better serve requests for static and streaming web content, so that the transfer time is reduced as much as possible. So YouTube is also a channel is there, so you whatever the discussion you are making now, it can be transmitted over the network. You can easily do it. Similarly, streaming the web content can be, nowadays every session is being streamed through web. You can access them wherever you are sitting. So that facility should be provided by the cloud providers. Okay, so AWS provides users with a simple web service API to manage CloudFront. To make available content through CloudFront, it is necessary to create a distribution. So you know that the contents will be delivered through static, that is HTTP, or secured, or it is HTTPS streaming. We have a RMTP protocol also for streaming. Okay, real-time message transfer protocol, you can think of that, and then you can do little more understanding on this. Next we have communication services. Okay, communication services, which when you are providing a lot of facility like this, you wanted to give a web service, you wanted to give HTTP, HTTPS, then you want to give a CloudFront, you want to give a content delivery network, content facility like a streaming facility, all that, you must have a facility called virtual networking. We know that VPNs, we need to create VPNs, we need to create VPCs, okay, virtual private cloud. Virtual private cloud directly from one user to another user, because all these are subscription based data. You can't say without you have a subscription, so you need to control the subscription also. Everyone will try to access that data, but only those who are having subscription need to be given. So you must have a proper mechanism to handle that. So you must create virtual private cloud and Amazon Direct Connect you need to be created for accessing this data. So all these things will be done through virtual networking as well as messaging. What is virtual networking? How do they really do that? Virtual networking comprises a collection of services that allow AWS user to control the connectivity to and between compute and storage devices. Okay, Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, VPC we call it as virtual private network, must be there underlying that, and above that you will have a virtual private cloud which will handle your data. Even when you are accessing any cable connectivity like Tata, Airtel, if you have paid the fee, then only the data will be available, otherwise it will not be available. Please understand that all these things are also handled through the cloud only. Okay, Amazon Direct Connect provide connectivity solutions in terms of infrastructure. Flexibility in creating virtual private networks within the Amazon infrastructure and beyond is available with respect to virtual networking. What is Amazon? Amazon is having a messaging facility also. There are multiple types of messaging. Amazon Simple Queue service, we call it as SQS. SQS constitutes a disconnected model for exchanging messages between applications by means of message queues hosted within the AWS Amazon Web Services infrastructure. By using the AWS console or directly the underlying web service, AWS users can create an unlimited number of message queues and configure them to control their access. Amazon Simple Notification Service, SNS, whenever there is a notification need to be given, you need to provide a facility like SNS, push subscribe method. Like everywhere in your mobile phone you have the facility there. You are whenever there is a notification, automatically notifications will be popped up. So how do they do it? They will publish. When they publish, if the notification service is enabled in your system, automatically it will be popped up, and for that they use push public subscribe method. Amazon Simple Email Service, as you know already, you have a email facility. You have started using it. So you will have a simple message protocol, okay, and simple email service, SMTP, and IMAP services will be provided. MIME will be provided by this service. And for simple notification service, HTTPS need to be there, email JSON, and SQS facility will be provided by the Amazon. So all protocols which you are studying in web need to be known here. HTTPS, email, MIME, JSON, SQS, okay, SES, and simple SMTP and IMAP services also need to be provided. Thank you very much for patient listening. We have completed the facility available in Amazon Web Services and various services provided, how the storage, how buckets and objects are managed in Amazon, what is the size, what are the key concepts in storage services, what are the different advanced computing services available, which are the different instances available for EC2 provisions, and actually how you are handling missions which are located in various distant locations. All these things have been seen. We shall go to the question answer session now. In the next hour, we shall discuss Google App Engine. Thank you very much.